So Charlie Kirk died yesterday, and I realized that I'm late talking about it. That's because I was out of town when it happened, and when I came home, I didn't really feel like talking about it. I decided to sit back and wait and try to process my thoughts before I came in and told y'all how that I was feeling about it. First of all, I think we all need to start right here. I think everyone needs to condemn political violence, always first and foremost. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. I don't care how full of hatred you may be. I don't care which way you land in the religious spectrum, whether you believe in a God or you don't believe in a God. I just think that everyone out there needs to stop with the knee-jerk reactions, and everyone needs to come together and condemn political violence. Political violence is never the answer. You don't beat shitty ideas and bad opinions with violence, because when you use violence against shitty opinions and bad ideas, you turn those shitty opinions and bad ideas into a martyr, and you turn those things into a hero, and they don't need to ever be made that way. So violence is never the answer in any case. And so what happened yesterday was truly tragic and a dark day in American history. And my condolences goes out to Charlie Kirk's children. I truly do feel empathy and sympathy towards them, even though he's a man that had none. And I want to tell you kind of how it was that I found out that it had happened. I had went out of town. I was going to take a break, get away from this for a minute, and I was sitting in a restaurant eating sushi and drinking a beer, and I looked up and I seen News Nation on the TV, which is nothing new around here. You see that in every place you go. And I saw him on the TV. They were showing clips of him and stuff, and so I just thought, okay, they're showing Charlie Kirk, and I couldn't hear it, so I just continued to eat my food. And then I looked up and realized that the headline said Charlie Kirk shot, and it took me a minute for it to sink in because it didn't seem real. I kept looking at it and going, shot? What do they mean shot? I was totally kind of taken back by it. And then I got on my phone and I saw what had happened. And I realized it was real, and it began to sink in as I was sitting there. And it was one of those things that was just truly hard to process. Charlie Kirk should not have went out that way. Regardless of how I feel about him as a person, I don't think that that's how he deserved to go out. I don't think anyone does. So again, I always want to start by condemning political violence. But I do want to read you a quote from Charlie Kirk, and I'm not trying to do this as a gotcha moment. I do have a point coming, I promise. But Charlie Kirk said, "I think it is worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational." Now, when I saw what happened, one of the first thoughts that went through my head is a quote that I use here on the channel quite a bit. I always say, "This is the hill I'm willing to die on." And I say that because I myself have had death threats. I say that because I get hate mail every day. And I'm always looking over my shoulder when I'm out and about. So I say that quote quite a bit. I say, "This is the hill that I'm willing to die on." And when I watched the video of Charlie Kirk, I said to myself, well, that was the hill that Charlie Kirk was willing to die on. And that quote that he made was a quote that he was willing to die on. Another quote that Charlie Kirk made that he was willing to die on, he said, "I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage." So Charlie Kirk was willing to die on that hill with those ideas. And Charlie Kirk built his platform on racism and hatred and bigotry and homophobia and transphobia and hurting other people. Now, I'm not saying he deserved what he got. He absolutely didn't. That's not how that it should have ever been carried out. But that's the platform that he built. And that was the hill that he was willing to die on. And one of the reactions that I'm seeing from a lot of people is that, well, this guy just wanted to go out and express his ideas. This guy just wanted to go out and have healthy debates. No, this guy didn't have healthy debates. This guy had some of the most toxic debates that I've ever heard in my life. And I would have never sat down and entertained an idea with him. because of his racism and because of his bigotry and because of the stances that he took. He's not someone that I would have ever sat down and had a debate with based on what I heard him say. So this idea that, well, he just wanted to exchange ideas. No, what the man did was go out to college campuses, pull up a chair, and without any facts or evidence whatsoever, spew his hate and vile, disgusting rhetoric on college kids and built his platform off of that. So if you want to read other quotes or see other quotes of Charlie Kirk, they're all over the internet. So if you're one of these people defending this, saying, well, I had respect for the guy, he had a right to his opinion, I encourage you to really go deep dive into his opinions and really listen to what it was that he had to say. Because if you're one of these people saying, I respect him and I respect his views, this death, folks, has really, to me, exposed people more so than Trump winning the first time, more so than January 6th, more so than Trump winning the second time. The reaction that I'm seeing from people and the way that they're painting this, that this was just this really good dude that just wanted to go out and sit down and have healthy debates, that's not at all what was going on. And it just exposes either A, complete and total ignorance from the person, or B, that racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, hatred, and no empathy was not a deal breaker for those people. So as I was sitting there watching all this unfold, another thought that went through my head was, well, we have a leader who's just going to make this worse. We have a leader who is going to push the accelerator down and is going to stir the pot even harder. And that's what Donald Trump did, because he immediately went out without any evidence whatsoever. They don't have the shooter yet. At the time that I sit down to make this video, they've not found who done it. They detained 2 people, questioned them, and let them go. That's what I heard when I sat down to do this video. So far, no one's been arrested. Without anyone being arrested and with no evidence whatsoever as to what the political motive would have been for this person, Donald Trump went on national television and said the radical left lunatics is what did this. And he even said the radical left lunatics is what, tried to take his life. And that's not true. It was one of his own supporters that did that. So then that just stirred the pot to have all these social media influencers hit the waves and say, this is war. We're declaring war. And I'm over here saying, we over here have been denouncing political violence for years. We have been over here denouncing it and calling it out for years. So their side has always been hell-bent on revenge, hell-bent on wanting a civil war. And at a time when Donald Trump could have tried to cool the room down, he just, with no evidence whatsoever, blamed it on the radical left. And that's what the influencers are doing, is blaming it on the radical left without one shred of evidence as to where the shooter stood politically. And so I don't know how we're ever going to come together in this country when we have a leader who refuses to ever bring us together. And it's really sad to me that this is the place now that we're in. Yesterday, as that was happening, another school shooting happened. And we don't know the children's names. I went looking and couldn't find the names. But we have school shootings in this country on a daily basis. We've had so many of them that I have to be reminded which one was which. And I don't see outrage from people. I don't see people getting outraged. I just see people like Charlie Kirk saying, well, that's just the price for freedom. So the video of Charlie Kirk dying is truly horrifying. It's disgusting. And again, he didn't deserve to go out that way. But if that video disturbed you and got you good and angry, got you pissed off, that's what gun violence does to children in school too. So all of your outrage that you have right now over Charlie Kirk, I wish you would have expressed that same outrage about all the children that have died. And maybe we could have came together and maybe we could have worked to stop this senseless violence. again, I will always condemn political violence. It's never the answer, folks. It's not the way that you beat shitty ideas or racist ideas or bad ideas. This is not how we handle things, and this is not how it should be. At the same time, Charlie Kirk is no hero. And I can't sit here and try to say, well, it's just about a difference of opinion. I just can't do that, folks. And I know there's people on my side that would have loved to have had the opportunity to go out and debate Charlie Kirk. But the reason why that I wouldn't is because I'm not going to sit down and debate someone so openly racist. I don't see where the debate is with opinions like that. Because I don't want to see those opinions normalized. I don't want to see those opinions sane washed. And I don't want to see those opinions made out to be heroic. So it's tragic. It's a sad day. And I hate that it happened. I truly wish that Charlie Kirk was still with us. And I wish that Charlie Kirk could have maybe grew up eventually. I wish that Charlie Kirk could have maybe one day seen the error of his ways. I wish that Charlie Kirk could have one day came around to a voice of true reason. When I'm saddened about Charlie Kirk, I'm saddened for what could have been. Because he did have the gift of gab. He did have charisma. He was able to connect with people. And it would have been great if he could have used that ability to bring people together and to unify each other instead of saying all the racist, vile, disgusting shit that he said. So it's a sad and dark day for this country. And my condolences goes out to his children. And that's really all I have to say about it. I'm sure I'll have more to say in the coming days. I know I was late talking about it, but I didn't want to give a knee-jerk reaction. And I needed time to sit back and think about it. And that's just how I see it. So you're free to see it however you want to. And I just hope that we can eventually find a place where we can all come together and exchange ideas, not platform racism and hatred.